Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng pera. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. Kawan ni Ignacio, Katipunero, sugo, todo sa kayod, punong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiding at tigil.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munchin' with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
2, 1, and what's poppin'? And welcome to Popcorn with Cholo Sediaren, your stop for all things pop, where we talk about all things pop culture here from the Philippines and to the rest of the globe. And of course, we are still here in our own homes as we have this whole pandemic to worry about and hopefully come out of, very hopefully. But today we have another extra special guest here with us on Popcorn. Ito, idol ko talaga to.
Oh, dude.
You know, this guy is one of the people I, early on in my career in the music industry, isa sa mga una kong alaga talaga. Alaga talaga. You know, it's one of the people I really admire in the music. I really, really enjoy. He's a singer, songwriter, producer, entrepreneur. FERN is here. FERN period.
Dot. Yeah.
FERN dot. Welcome to the show, FERN.
Hello. Hi.
Kamusta?
I'm excited to talk about. This is I was actually looking forward to talking.
Talaga ba?
Sa quarantine lang wala na akong kausap eh.
Yeah, you know, parang I remember parang one of the first times we were talking, which was way back in 2018. I was like, hey, what music do you listen to? Blah, blah, blah.
Ay, dude!
Remember that conversation in the car?
That was in for yung net something.
Letters and Music in Net 25. Parang one of the early days ni FERN. And yeah, now we're here.
When I still enjoyed wearing the floral polos.
The super oversized floral polos and the Gucci or Hermes belt. Gotta flex it.
I can't believe I did that, man.
Search the internet. You can find those photos somewhere. But si FERN, maybe you should introduce yourself and to the people who aren't familiar. Well, si FERN, yeah, as I said, he has a lot of things under his belt, and I'm happy he's here on the show right now.
Thank you. I don't know what do I say, man. I mean, I think, yeah, I'm
Humble.
an
I
artist.
stand a humble king.
I'm an artist. Yeah, I started a business also. It's called Kindred Production. We do audio solutions. I run it with Jorge, Winnicky, and a few of our other partners on the business side. So yun. I mean, that's most of the things I do. I still go to school also, but no one really cares about that, you know.
Well, you should finish it. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I will.
you're gonna get there. But
I have,
people, it matters. It matters.
yeah, I have one more year. Can't wait.
But like before we get to like other questions, like how have you been coping? As you were saying, it's hard for you. I mean, konti lang tao nakakausap mo. How's the whole quarantine last 3 month situation for Fern?
Uh, I went. I don't know about you, dude, but like I hate social media now. Like, I mean, I rather like talk to my friends about what's happening rather than look at social media. But it gets me so sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like sometimes I would just like turn it off or like delete the app, the
Yeah.
Twitter app
I feel like
specifically.
I feel like I'm living in a dystopian like community. Ganun. Parang
Yeah,
every time I wake up, I'm like, I'm in Black Mirror or something. Parang,
we are. This is like the sixth full year edition of Black Mirror.
it's going crazy na. Like, so I mean, I think other than that, I mean, I've been coping pretty well. I play a lot of video games. So I look for ways talaga. I mean, I've been reading a lot. I'm reading ano now, um, Rules of Victory.
Wow.
I mean,
You know,
yeah,
like if you don't really see Fern behind the music, behind Spotify, he's really someone who like reads a lot of books about mga self-help books, self-help books. Like every time like we'd be in between like guestings on the radio or whatever, he'd always have like a book. And it's nice because not a lot of Gen Z people actually read these days, right?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that. But for me, it's like I want to be self-aware lang. I mean, I know
Mm-hmm.
that because in the reality of things, it's like I'm in the entertainment industry, and it's not, you know, it's not like parang a rare thing to parang change your personality because you know a lot of attention, all that. So I always want to keep myself in check. Na parang, you know, yeah, I don't want it to get into my head because I feel like I think I only started reading self-help books when I entered the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Just because parang I had a fear of like kind of losing myself in it. Because it's hard, man. I feel like it's a nice feeling, eh. Like, a lot of people don't want to admit it, but it's a nice feeling that you know you have attention, people listen to
Mm-hmm.
you, you're heard. So I think sometimes more often than not, like it gets into artists' head. So
Yeah, and you can't completely avoid that because, like, you know, some people just go with the flow and then get taken by the flow and don't really know what's happening to them anymore, which is good for you because, like, you know your boundaries and you know your,
but
you
don't
know,
get me wrong, it's like I find
yeah.
myself sometimes I'm always like, yo, parang what are you thinking? But bakit ganun? Parang you used to do it for the music, but now parang you try to do it to get more attention. So that's when the self help books comes in. Parang
Uh-huh.
I do a lot of like mindfulness meditation. Parang I just kind of like sit in my thoughts. Na parang okay ka ba ba? Alam mo yung self check na parang okay, friend, ayos. Like why are you thinking like that? Or why are these thoughts in your head? I think, pero I'm still like everyone else. Like you know, when attention comes, I'm still the type of person na parang. I mean, I'm only 19, so I like it also. But you know, everything is done for it not to get into my head. But it doesn't mean that I don't feel it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's good that you know it's happening around
Yeah,
you.
it is.
Kasi
Kasi
nga, di ba, parang some people are like, okay, I'm so famous. I'm just gonna bask in the fame or
yeah,
whatever. And it's just like, they don't know that this is how they affect people or this is how they affect themselves na, di ba?
that's why I think like celebrities sometimes like those people with like a huge amount of following and they're still like very grounded. I think like they deserve more credit. You know, I think it's a really hard thing to do. Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm not yet there, but like I can't imagine, man. Like that's a huge ego boost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
And
think,
I would say naman na parang knowing you for the last 2 to 3 years, you're pretty humble. I mean, with all your achievements, like legit na parang it makes me so proud to see from where you were when we first met to now na parang Fern is achieving so many things and continuing to do so and continuing to make more music, and it's really nice because like some people, the moment you meet them, they're like so mayabang and like, okay, anong gusto mo patunayan na parang why are you so why is your ego so big and why are you like shoving it in other people's faces? But you're like super,
Thank
you
you.
know, you know who you are. You show it through your craft, but you don't necessarily like, oh, hey, I'm Fern. I do all of this, right?
Yeah, no. I wouldn't. If I became that person, I feel like I have a good support group also that would like snap me out of it. I think that's a huge thing also. I have a really good support group.
Yeah, but like, syempre, coming from that question nga, parang you've been in the industry for mga 3 years na at this point. Like, how has it been like starting, especially when you were 16 ba, 17?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, like, syempre, you were just from like a prom ni at a school, you were like approached by a record label, Universal Records, and then, hey Fern, do you want to do this? And then you're put into the spotlight, and then, oh, Spotify loves you, you're number one trending, di ba? Mga ganung bagay. Like,
Honestly,
how was that whole thing?
the first time I was really scared, honestly. Like I don't know if you remember, but I was trying to fight for it. But like when I got signed, I was trying to fight for Kindred to be my name rather than Fern.
I wasn't there yet, but
Okay, but ayun, that was an actual discussion, and I was like, it was a real fear, man. Like honestly, like I think it was something. My mom's here. Or yun, I think it was a real fear na I didn't kind of like want the attention that much. Like I knew it. I knew na parang it's not something that I want.
mhm.
So
But like,
it's like
yeah, how did
yeah.
you
So
take that in, di ba? Parang,
yeah, going out to the trending thing on Spotify. Like I think that moment when I heard about it, I was actually with one of my best friends. We were in Starbucks. So he's like, "Free, no? You're top one. You're top one. Like, aren't you happy?" So parang ako like, no, like okay lang. like I didn't feel anything talaga, dude. And like honestly, like it's not that I'm like parang oh I expected it. It's like for me what matters more is like this in my own opinion, like when my friends play my songs, na parang they listen to it or they add it to their Spotify playlist, all that. Parang for me that's like a bigger win.
yeah.
Like that's when I realized that parang okay, like it's not so bad naman pala. You get me? Like parang I'm not really in it pa rin. Because I was having doubts. I think this is one of the things I've learned in like the industry. It's like it's not hard to actually start, and it's not hard also to, you know, kind of climb up. But the hardest thing is to maintain
Yeah,
yourself,
to sustain it. Like,
sustain your personality, your success, like everything. It's so hard, bro. Like, my last EP, yung Loveless,
mhm.
I hate it, dude. Honestly, like I don't like it.
It
And
was
it
good. It was a good EP. I'm
thank you,
not being biased here.
thank you. But, like, for me, like it was really that's when I experienced the hardest part of like being in the entertainment industry, being heard, especially
Mhm.
from the first ones like Lie to Me, Into You. Those are my first singles, diba? It felt different when I wrote Loveless. Like parang I was like there are times where I'd stop and I'd be like, will the public like this? Like will they compare it to the last one? Parang I never had those thoughts.
Yeah.
That's why I think
You mean in the beginning when you were creating your first
I
EP?
had those thoughts. That's when I realized na parang, damn, this is the real struggle. Like, it's not about, getting the numbers. It's not about, like, none of that shit, dude. It's about, like, talagang sustaining your personality, of course, your income, and sustaining also your career. Those three, parang it's such a struggle, dude.
And sometimes you tend to like get in your head din kasi na parang, like you're doing so well, but inside your head you're like, oh, is this like my worst output yet or something like that?
I think it's because I felt like people were looking at me. I think
Yeah.
that's where I kind of fell off. Like I felt like there were eyes on me. So yeah, going back to what I said before, like at one point it did get to me and it still does get to me. That was one of the points. Na parang I was like, I felt like parang, oh, everyone's like expecting, everyone's like, but the truth is, no one really cares, man. No one cares unless you put it out.
Yeah. Like
I was,
sometimes you just have to put it out,
yeah, like I was
right?
making scenarios in my head na parang, oh, everyone's like waiting for it. But the truth is, they just, wala lang, dude. Once it's out, it's out. No one's really
Yeah.
like thinking about like when's Fern gonna put out another album. Like it was all in my head.
Feel ko mayroon namang naghihintay talaga.
Yeah,
Mga
meron, pero it wasn't in a way na
Fernatics. What's official Fern? Has there been a fandom name at this point? Parang wala pa rin, no?
wala.
Somebody come up with that. We can't. The dots joke. The dots.
Oh, dude, there was this, like the Instagram and the Twitter account, the Into Fern something.
Oh yeah, into Fern PH.
I'm grateful for those people. I actually messaged them a lot.
That's nice. I mean, yun nga, parang you really started. Parang it's something so. Parang I guess it's really. How do you say this? It's really a big deal, especially for a 17-year-old getting all that attention. Because like when you came out with your first EP, even before I started working in Universal, parang I heard na nga your song in Spotify when they interviewed me. Like,
Yeah.
what do you know of our artist? I was like, I've heard this guy named Fern in Spotify, ganyan. And then, that was a really, really good EP. And at that time, nobody was doing like the techno electro pop in the Philippines. That was 2 years ago. Pero syempre, now it's like different na rin eh, diba? The times are different.
Honestly, like that album was inspired like by my mentors. Like
Yeah.
it was Jorge, and Jorge would make me listen to Rome. This is before Rome blew up, and like
Yeah.
that was modeled with like from those people. So like yeah, solid naman na parang I was known as like kind of like breaking the sound out there, but I can't say na parang I was the first. Because I was really inspired by like Jorge, Rome, all that.
Yeah. And like at that time, a lot of people were like, oh, he's the Lauv of the Philippines. He's the Troy Sivan of the Philippines. Like, how did you feel about those like comparisons?
I felt super like not one empowered, but like kilig. You know what I mean? Like parang it's nice, dude. I was super flattered. I mean, wala, dude. I never really thought, honestly, man. I never thought that people would listen to my music. Like let alone this much people. It's not even a lot yet, but like parang to me, it's already like whoa. Like,
Yeah, and like you've reached not just the Philippines, but you've reached a majority of Southeast Asia na rin, diba? Are there like people from other countries messaging you? Even Korea, like I think you're just one of the few people who like in at least in our label who has noticed on Melon, which is like their Spotify in Korea, diba? And like that's a big deal with like the super big K-pop industry also. Na parang Korea, wow, to be
yeah.
heard there with their magnificent production, diba?
Standard of music.
Yeah, yeah.
Standard of art, dude. Yeah. Crazy. The first time I heard about it was when the girl from UR told me. I was like, whoa.
About Melon or about ano?
About Melon.
Yeah. I mean, it's like something na not everyone gets to achieve and not everyone knows about it, but when you do like have that thought in your mind, it's like a really nice thing to have. But like
Yeah.
I remember one of our early conversations then was about your ultimate goal in your career, which is to get a Grammy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, to be honest, like the first time I was like, what is this kid saying? Who is this guy?
Yeah. I get that a lot, bro. Parang a lot of people would tell me like, dude, when you told me like, this came from Jorge. You said when you
Yeah.
said Grammy, like every parang it came off to me as like, oh, this kid's so arrogant. But then as much as he like, the further he knew me, he got to know me. Like parang it was like parang, oh, this kid's serious. Like he's
Yeah.
about it, and like I really am, man. Like it's not something I say na parang, yeah, I'm good enough to get a Grammy. I'm like, no, like I'll believe that I will win a Grammy until the day I do.
I mean, it's the same for me. Like that first moment when you were telling me about it the very first time, I was like, wow, this guy must be out of his mind to like want a Grammy right away. But then yun nga, once we got to know each other even more, and then I saw you like do your craft and like, you'd make us listen to your demos and all that. Parang I was like, no, not a lot of people work as hard towards that one goal, no matter how other people like say na it's not possible, but it is possible probably in how many years from now. We never know. And that's good that you have like that goal, right?
Honestly, I think a lot of people like there's a lot of ano kasi, like, I mean, one of my, like, main role models will always be, like, Steve Jobs, diba?
Yeah.
Steve Jobs is, like, a fan of, like, speaking things into existence, all that. So I think that's, like, one of my beliefs that parang, if I keep saying this, if I keep putting it out there, like, the world will give it back to me. But also, if it manifests in a way that parang, I'll be the artist that will inspire the kid that will win the first Grammy for the Philippines, then that's good enough for me also. It's
Yeah.
not like I'm not doing it to be like Fern. Like Fern is gonna be like the hero. Like no, like I just wanna be a crucial part of the story. Or at least I wanna be like a main plot driving force of the story, you know.
Yeah.
So really all for the culture naman talaga man. Like it's not on some fake shit, like honestly, like I'm not the type now when I see someone succeed, like I'll be like, oh that should be me. It's like I think we should celebrate Philippines success as like one. And that happens in Korea, diba? Like artists support artists,
Yeah.
and that's why Korea is such a big like culture,
Yeah.
that culture for arts, diba? Because everyone's just supporting each other.
And the government itself supports
Supports them.
Korean art, but we have a lot to work on here for sure.
Bro, honestly, man, like I know you asked the questions, bro, but I'm gonna ask you a question, bro.
Yeah.
Like, why is it so hard? Like with all the resources now, social media. I mean, the Philippines, we're not that poor, you know. Like we have money. Like I've seen it. There's big production, like value here. There's talent. Like what's
Do
the
we have money? Just kidding.
like maybe not as
Like
much.
we do, we do,
We
we
have
do.
the talent. We have the value. We have the resources. Everyone has the resources. Why is it so hard? You know, like why is it so hard to break out as a country? Diba? Like I always wonder that. Like parang why?
Why?
Like
That's
you
a
have
good.
Orb Spades, you have like JK, you have all these talents that are like, you know, they have like world class value, but like, what's happening?
That's a really good question, you know. I mean, I think siguro it's just a matter of time. I mean, it's really sometimes having the right people behind you and having that one hit that will like break out to the rest of Asia, that will then break out to the rest of the world. You never really know, eh. And I guess it's really a goal everyone's really working towards. And maybe feeling ko it might not be the time yet. Because like we really have to support each other in the OPM industry first and foremost, I feel. Like, di ba parang, of course, like you have that goal of Grammy, but what about the award shows here? Are we doing something as an industry to like preserve the integrity of award shows in the Philippines also? Parang, I guess that's something we should work on as our generation.
True, that's true, man. I agree.
I mean, meron namang mga award-giving bodies, but I feel like we could do better than in the local scene first, and then that's when we bring each other up to the international scene.
Yeah. Like I think it's also a problem of who should we celebrate, you know? Like I
Yeah,
think a lot of the artists we celebrate in the Philippines are like, you know, so. Like the artists that are underground that like really work hard and like grind for it, like no one notices them. I think it's I don't know.
yeah. It's also I feel probably like the culture of fans na, you know, um fans sometimes tend to like gravitate towards the celebrity more than the art itself. And the art doesn't really necessarily matter as long as their favorite celebrity is there, right? Like, oh hey, artist celebrity X is here and has an album that's auto-tuned and like not really their voice.
Yeah.
And then it will go platinum because they have like legions of fans supporting it. But like, for example, we have really good music that not a lot of people are aware yet. So, you know, I feel like it's a constant effort that has to come from within the industry, and, you know, we put it out there for the bigger audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for my interview. I hope you accept my I hope you accept my application.
That's an answer that's I agree with. So I
Yeah, I feel like, you know, the time is changing, and it's really up to us, the younger generation, millennials and Gen Z, to like really break the boundaries of the traditions that have been in place. And I think that's what's happening naman with the rest of the world as well. Although, of course, priorities right now would be really to fight the pandemic and like to be safe. But, I feel like we'll get there eventually. Sana we're alive to see that day,
Alright, bro,
right?
please. Sana.
I hope I get to see the day and get invited to Fern's Grammy Award ceremony.
Yun, of course, dude. Honestly, I'll come straight back to the Philippines, invite all my closest friends, and be. We did it. Yeah.
Who's your dream like magpe-present ng award mo? Like in the Grammys if ever it happened.
I think it's a huge stretch, but like probably Matty Healy.
Why not?
Baka Brit Award. Yung ano, what's the Brit one?
Um
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't really know. What is Brit Awards yata eh?
Yeah, maybe that. Pero hindi ako pwede dun eh.
Why not? I mean, I guess you could. It depends na lang if you're like under those labels, and I guess we can't really spill the beans yet. But I know there's something in the works, and I hope it really works out for you and a lot of people because you're really one of the people that I believe in. Wow, naging senti na. But yeah, like legit among the other people that I listen to, parang Ferns, yung inuulit-ulit ko na music, and like, we used to call him the king of bops. Because,
Thank you.
from the first to second EP, those songs were so good, and the moments we celebrated together were also really nice. And
If there's one thing about me, bro, I go all out on
yeah,
those situations, dude. Whenever we have an EP launch, like I'm always like gone from this earth, dude.
that very first EP launch will be memorable. Although, of course, I don't think we can say what happened. Ano yung behind the scenes nun.
Yeah. Definitely though. Definitely one for the books. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, syempre, coming from there, the beginnings of Fern, coming from, having a band in high school and then getting signed with your first recording label, having all the attention with Into You, Lie to Me. You've worked with so many people na in the industry and you've produced for them. Like, how was that? What was like a memorable experience in that time frame? Like, you get to produce for different types of people. From, can we say, Careless, and can we say that,
Careless. Nah, I haven't done much for Careless, but
Nadine? And we can cut this na lang. Who do we mention?
we can mention
Julianne.
Chloe's.
Yeah. I'm thinking of something nice to say.
Go.
Yeah, I mean, syempre you've produced for a lot of people. You started with Claudia Barreto then, and you've worked with like the likes of Kiana Valenciano, Julianne San Jose, and a lot of other people. Like, how was that experience? Like, coming from your own music and then like widening your horizons and like helping other people achieve what they want. Especially like you were just 18 at that time.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing that at 18. I don't even know what I was doing. Like every time I see you guys, like you young artists, like anong ginagawa ko when I was 18? I was probably just like watching my favorite TV show and like doing nothing. But you guys are just like hustling so hard to achieve your dreams, and that's really
Well, it's like whether you like it or not, it's like the hustle now is a bit more magnified just because of social media. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would do some side hustles before, but it's not really as magnified now.
yeah.
But I think but yeah, with that question, it's like for me, like in my opinion, I enjoy working with artists that want to connect with me as a person. I mean, wala lang. I think music is definitely something that should be done in the purest and most genuine way. But there's also the money factor there also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give so much value to that genuinity of it. Is that a word? I don't know. But yeah, like I love the relationships I build with them. Like let's say with Claudia, um, I mean for me, like she was a celebrity that's like, you know, parang a celeb,
Yeah.
and I never thought like a celebrity would talk to someone like me. Something like that. I mean, you know, right? It's whether we like it or not, like we know of them and we kind of like have this idea or like concept of like celebrities in our head. So like the moment I was approached by Claudia, of course, it's more like I was kind of like I mean I was flattered, but also at the same time like like I was kind of like scared in a way. Na parang I don't know, like am I the right person?
Yeah.
Like will I do you well? Like I don't know, I'm just a high school kid, but it's really the parang the friendship that I've built with those people, Claudia, Julie, even with Sina James. Like I haven't really worked on much with them, but we've been in the studio a couple of times. But it's when they genuinely ask about like life that makes
Yeah.
it a memory for me. Like I've had a lot of conversations with James. Like I don't know, like to me it stands out because it's like you're in the same industry. We met because we're in the industry, but like for someone to go out of their way to ask you about like you know your own personal stuff, I think that's something that's I really appreciate that. Like I really appreciate the connection because the music will then happen after, diba? Like it'll just follow it.
Yeah.
Being with friends is always better. So for me, that's my favorite part. Like to answer your question, like my favorite part is becoming friends with them, and actually like parang talking about life problems rather than parang how are we gonna proceed with this project? How are we going to like pay you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
mean, kasi you can't really approach it, I guess, na, if someone, you produce for someone you don't necessarily vibe with, kasi parang, what will come out of that? It's gonna become like just a project and nothing really like creative, right?
yeah client work, but I always 100% put my creativity into it. But there's just something else when there's a connection. Like yeah, it's different.
But like, take me to like a studio. Say I'm an artist and I want my first single to be produced by Fern. Like, ano yung mga questions na, you usually like get into, like, of course, what music are you into, right? And then like,
Yeah,
how do you
like
go from there? Especially with like a stranger, for example.
um I'll just explain it with my own experience. Like with I remember with let's say maybe like Kiana when Kiana was in the studio. It was like it was just fun, man. Like she came into the studio, we listened to the song a few times, and then she started recording the whole session on her iPad. And being the weird person I am, I just started becoming weird. So I'm just like, like parang, that's how it got comfortable, I guess for me at least. So I think that's how I go about it in the studio. Like we do a lot of dumb shit that makes it so comfortable. Like parang the shell has to be broken.
Yeah.
Because music, man, I don't know if it's the same for a lot of people, but when I create music, it's something like parang so vulnerable. Like all the outer shells that I have as a person when I present myself like in public places or like in groups, it's gone. When I'm making music, it's like me, like what I feel, the deepest thought in my head, you know, sadness, pain, blah blah blah, anxious, anxiety, all that shit. It's there. So when I go into the studio and that outer shell can be like broken, and then that someone also like they're also very vulnerable right now. Like music will just flow. And I think that's what happened there. Like we were in the studio for such a short time. Like we were just recording, and everything was fun. Pa. Like we didn't even know like the iPad was still recording the whole thing until we checked it again. We were like, oh, it died. I think that's how I always go about it. Like I used to smoke, diba, a lot of cigarettes. I stopped na now. But, we'd go for a Yossi break. Like, oh, you smoke? And he's like, oh, yeah, I do. Tara, Yossi muna tayo. Like, let's chill first. Something like that.
Yeah.
So,
So, babalitaan namin kayo pag may first single na ako produced by Fern, one of my
I
executive
mean,
producer.
even with you guys, like you, Janine, the whole team, and you are, diba, like, it wasn't, I always avoided, I don't know if this is with me or it's the same for a lot of artists, but I'd always try to avoid all the formalities. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes I'd be really unprofessional kasi sobrang tropa na. But that's really how I go about things. Eh. Like, I
Well,
don't
I
like...
guess it comes with the age then na
I was young and I still am.
yeah. And like I guess parang our age difference as compared to like other people you would work with generally, it's not too far. Like we get the same vibe, we understand some things. Although syempre iba yung Gen Z from us, but like it's like you're like our younger siblings and like, you know, although we're also like exploring our career and like the music industry on our own, like it's nice to have that experience nga to like, you know, guide people and see their success as well. And you're like one of those success stories, I would say, that I really enjoy working on.
You saw it too, bro. Like, you saw it from like the start to like the actual, like, now.
Yeah, to like people retweeting Fern on Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dati sinasabay lang ako ni Fern sa sasakyan niya. Ganun.
Kasama pa nanay ko.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Memories. But like, aside from that, syempre, being the young person that you are, you're 19, as you mentioned. Like, what do you, as we were talking about kanina, what do you envision in the local industry? Especially since yun nga, aside from doing your own music, you actually have another project called Fire God, which is a duo pa. And then aside from that, you started your own company with your mentors, and it's called Kindred, right? Like how do you want to like achieve such vision, and what do you want to like the scene to look like maybe in the next few years?
Honestly, man, like, this is how I go about it. Like, I'm gonna, like, this is my thought process with everything. Like, whenever I think about Fire God, Fern, Kindred, school, life pa, like, parang I got super overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't know, like, I get really stressed, I get anxious about it. But once I look at it in a way that's like, I see the end goal, but the steps slowly reveal themselves as I work.
Yeah.
Like, parang that makes me comfortable, and that's how I look at everything now. So when with the clear vision, of course, I want, like, for Fern, I want to achieve international success. I want to be heard by everyone. For Fire God, same thing. I want to be heard with everyone, and I want to share that success with si Punzi, which is the other half, because he's been my friend since like we were kids. So I want to share that success with him. That's also a different level of achievement, right? And Kinjed, like, I want to experience that kind of like financial security, and also be successful and change the sound in the Philippines. But I have all those visions. Like it's a clear entrance at the top, but I don't necessarily have like a pathway. Like, I don't know na parang with Kinjed, I don't have a plan that's like, okay, this year we're gonna do this,
Yeah.
next year we're gonna achieve this. I don't. Even with Fern, it's like I don't necessarily think about I need to have an album by this year. I need to have X amount of listeners slash followers by this year. I don't necessarily think of any of that. It's really more of just like big goal, big dreams, big vision, and then work. Like, work towards it until like parang, oh, I'm here na pala. So I
Yeah.
just keep working. I see the next step. I step on the first step, see the next one, figure out how to get to the next one, step on that until parang I find myself in the spot na parang, oh, I'm successful na pala. I think that's how I go about it. Every day also, I have a to-do list on my phone. Parang things I want to achieve every day. Because that's what I learned. Like, I mean, you said a while ago, I read a lot of like self-help books. I learned na parang once you focus on like every day, and the only thing you think about is probably tomorrow, it's like it gives you more focus. Eh. I think with like nowadays, with the amount of information like given to us, it's so hard to like think about like what's happening now. You're always like, oh, what's gonna happen in a few years? Like, I know a lot of people who are like worried about things that don't even exist yet. Like, whether it's girlfriend, it's success, whatever it is. Like, they're worried about something that's not even happening yet.
Yeah. I mean, some people have like 10-year plans. I don't get that.
And then when they're like, they're just putting like unnecessary pressure on themselves, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
how, like, that's how I'd feel if I did that. For me, I have a vision. Like with the Grammy thing. Like, when you guys ask me like when do you want to win a Grammy, I say next year. But if it doesn't happen next year, I'm gonna keep saying next year until it happens. Ganun eh, for me. It's not like parang after 5 years, if I don't win a Grammy, fuck that. No, dude. It's always gonna be, I'm gonna say next year. So I'm gonna work like if it was gonna happen next year. But if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna continue to say next year. So I keep my level of work ethic.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, yun na nga, parang sometimes, although it's good to have a plan, at least maybe like a vision nga,
Yeah.
sometimes like don't plan too far ahead because like,
Yeah. Or just have a clear image of where you wanna go, but don't plan out every step.
yeah,
Things will
yeah.
always not go your way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go on a straight line and then reach your goal. Like, I don't know. That's super rare.
And then you're gonna get
And
so disappointed when something you expect to happen doesn't happen, right?
exactly. Like, for me, like, I expect things to go sideways, even backwards, dude. Like, as long as I reach that end goal, it doesn't matter what direction I go. As long as I reach it. I mean, that's always going to be what I believe in. But again, that's me, pa rin, dude. Like, I'm just offering like a piece of my mind. If people agree with it, that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's why we're here. So, you can like get into Fern's mind and like,
Facts, dude.
yeah, life hacks by
I
Fern.
read I read a lot of yung mga success, like tips to success.
What's like a favorite book of yours that you've read na self-help genre?
Oh wait, it's by Napoleon Hill. Like, let me see. I forgot the rules of success, man.
There was one called parang
Think
the last time I saw you.
Think and Grow Rich. That's the one.
Which one?
It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Oh, parang di yun yung nakita ko. Pero Flow ba yung pangalan nun?
Yeah,
May
Flow.
isa called Flow. Is that it?
I read one called Flow also.
Yeah, yeah.
Flow State. But this one is my favorite book kasi I came from I was third year high school when I found out about this book. And I was dude. I came from I was an honor student and then I was continuing to like go down. Like I was like reaching like 70 on my grades. So I was telling myself like I wasn't working hard enough. I was like, I didn't know where I wanted to go. So I decided to buy that book. I'd bring it to school every day, so I'd read it. And it really changed my life, man. I ended that year with honors. And then that's the same year I graduated today. That's the same year I got signed to UR. And I don't know, man. Reading books really make you see things in a like parang third person perspective.
Yeah.
When you think everything is hopeless in your life, you read in a book that parang, oh, everyone goes through it. Adversity is always like a secret recipe to success. So you kind of feel good about yourself.
Yeah. And like, just don't make the worms eat your brains from social media. Right?
Yeah, exactly, dude. Social media, man. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of social media, just because like I don't know, man.
It's part of the recipe, but it's not the main course. Something like that.
Yeah. It's also something that's like if you're not self-aware, if you're not super mindful of like the things you see, the things you like read, it'll get into your head.
It will, yeah.
I mean, me also, dude. When I see like people younger than me successful on social media, like I still feel like parang damn, like what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
like parang it's not their fault, it's not your fault also, but it's like there's that. That reality. Na parang we all are aware of it.
And you're given a slice of somebody else's life, like without you asking for it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It takes a huge hit to your like mental, in a way, because like a lot of people like let's say, this celebrity posts like stories of like a big house, having a lot of girls, having parties every day, like parang kids or like people like me aspiring to reach that level of success will be like, so that's what success is. But in
Yeah.
reality, it's not. Like, that's their life lang. Like that's probably just the good stuff happening in their life, right? But of
Yeah.
course, us who can only see that is like, that's their life. Like I want to live that life, and then we get there, and then we're disappointed, and it's just like a whole mental breakdown.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really see what's behind the scenes,
Exactly, man.
right?
But
But
it's not the posters. Like it's not the guy who posted it's fault. It's not his fault. It's also not your fault. It's just social media's reality, man, and its effects.
yeah, it's really making the world a worst place. A worst place, not a worst place.
It's good and bad, man. I mean,
Yeah.
like people are more heard now. So like yung stuff like that are like politics or like whatever issues there are, like people can say something about it now.
Yeah, that's true.
They can educate now also.
Pero a lot of the things din kasi na parang, a lot of the things we're experiencing right now is because of the bad effects of the internet. Like, all the fake news, all the propaganda, and like, you know, people just being lured by trolls and all that. It's like something that brought these people into power. It's like the internet,
That's true. That's
whether
true.
we like it or not.
That's true.
And it's siguro parang for a lot of people or a majority of people, we're aware na okay, this is what's correct, what's credible. But to a lot of people, it's like, okay, I see this random WebMD article about how I should treat my sickness, and then
Yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah. That's true. There are a lot of people like that. My mom's like that. Like when she's on the internet, she's like, "Oh, this is how you can make easy money." Oh. Ganun, like, or like she'll see something and she'll be like, "Oh, look at this," where it's like from fake videos or something. But like, I don't know, man.
it's easy to get it's easy to get distracted by all the fluff on the internet. But
Yeah,
there's
actually, dude, my mom and my dad, bro, they both don't have social media, and they're both like very like chill because they
that's
don't know what's happening, and they're just like, "Oh, really? That's happening na pala." But that's a thing.
Pero like siguro last question music related before we go a bit more like chill.
Okay, okay.
Uh kasi syempre mainit na usapan ngayon is like politics of course in the Philippines. Like how do you integrate those ideologies of like what you believe in into your art, for example?
Honestly, for me, I don't integrate any of that to my art. I mean,
Yeah.
because of my identity as an artist, like I'm very romance centered. Like parang I'm lover boy, sad boy type of art. But as like a person,
Yeah, yeah.
the influence that I have because of my art is something that I can use to help out or to voice out things also. But I think I haven't done that enough because honestly, man, like it's tough, bro.
It is. It is.
Hella tough, man. Like with even with politics, it's such a sensitive topic. Na sometimes I want to say something, but like I always double check. Like, is this right? Like, am I just being like weird? So there's that also. But like honestly, for every artist, it doesn't even have to be your art. It doesn't have to be anything you do, but like the influence you have, like that's a big thing already.
It is. And, it's really the big issue right now, especially with the ABS-CBN shutdown. Na, people are calling out other artists for not speaking out. And these are like the biggest artists in the Philippines. And if you don't have that, I like thinking na what you say matters, diba? Like, then where do we go from here? Because you have massive influence on people who, just look up to you, diba?
Reality is reality, man. Like I get like I mean if I was like a super big artist, that's like really heavy on me. But reality is reality. You have a platform, you have the influence. People will expect something from you. Or you.
Yeah. You're not really parang and it's also the people who put you there to begin with, right? So like
It's tough, man. Like honestly, I'm so grateful that parang I'm not super big yet, but like I can freely voice out my thoughts. And I
yeah,
do like all these benefit gigs because like I feel like that's some one way of helping out also. But like no one really like attacks me to like that point. So like I don't know what they're feeling. I don't know what that feels like. So it's like that must be heavy, bro. Like
it
even for
must be. Yeah. I mean, I'm not completely like calling them out. I believe that they should speak out, but sometimes what people have to understand is that there are multiple forces around a big star. It's not just that big star. There's a manager, there's like a network, an agency, or whatever. And although you sometimes, if you want to speak out, they're gonna say don't because this. But at times like these lang talaga, it's just really necessary na to speak up because who knows what will happen tomorrow here in this country, right?
yeah, that's facts. That's hella facts, bro. I guess it's a gift and a curse, bro, to be like
It is.
influential.
But I guess let's like get out of this conversation about music and stuff. And like, who is Fern outside of that? Syempre, how do you get to handle that? We were talking about that whole thing, but like, what makes Fern outside of the Fern that the public knows? Like anime stuff, we talk about that sometimes. K-pop, mga ganyan.
That's basically it, bro. I mean, I consume a lot of art. That's one thing with me. I mean, films, books, anime.
Yeah. And it sometimes fuels your music also, right? Like some songs are based on movies.
Exactly. And sometimes I do watch all these like pieces of art because I wanted to influence my craft.
Yeah.
There's that conscious effort to do so. But outside of music, man, like I don't really like to overthink anything, you know. That's who I am. I don't want to I'm like us I'm like the person put in the spotlight but like never really wanted the spotlight. Parang ganun.
Yeah. Yeah.
With or without the attention, like I'm fine. I'll be super okay.
Yeah.
Outside of music, outside of the Fern, that like
Outside the dot, like Fern without the period.
outside all this like public image, whatever, like I'm still the same person talaga. Like without being paid to do music, I'm still gonna do music. A lot of people always ask me like, you know, they always say like you work hard, you work so hard, your work ethic is like super solid. But honestly, I don't see that. Like my mom even calls me lazy sometimes, which I am super lazy sometimes. It's just that these things like music, even with Kindred, I enjoy it. I think that's why these things come so easy. So like outside of music, there's no friend there. It's
Yeah.
my
You
life.
are Fern.
Yeah, like my life is literally because of the things I do. Like I am who I am because I am in the industry. I love music. I love art. And even what I said a while ago, like anime, even video games, books, and anything I consume is still a part of the art that I deliver.
But
So
like what parang ano bang anime right now are you like really into? Like the only one I've been watching is
is
just My Hero Academia. I'm not gonna lie, that's it.
are you done with My Hero?
No, I'm just starting season 3. I just finished the movie
Okay,
and
okay.
I'm starting season 3. So yeah, I'm just about to head there.
My Hero was one of the first animes that really got me hooked. I mean, I only got hooked with anime this quarantine, dude.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
It's a nice gateway din eh, no? Yung My Hero.
Yeah, man, it really is. And then I started binging everything, dude. Everything, dude. Like, lahat. Like, I watched all of those. I go to my anime list. I look at, like, top animes. I have friends that are, like, anime critics. So I ask them always, I'm like, yo, what's the next anime should I watch?
So
Something like that.
what's your favorite so far?
It has to be either Your Lie in April. Your Lie in April is about, like, a violinist.
Yeah.
And then Darling in the Franks, which is kind of like it's on Netflix. That's what I was gonna tell you to watch after My Hero. It's about like parang it's like Pacific Rim. They're back
Oh.
in a dystopian kind of setting and then Pacific Rim style, but like one robot is piloted by a girl and a boy. So there's always like love
A
triangle.
romance.
They fall in love, but then sometimes like they fall in love, but only the guy likes her, and then the girl likes like the other person from like the other team.
The other robot.
What like, shit like that.
That's an interesting thing. I
It's
feel like
nice, dude. It really focuses on like coming of age romance rather than like fight. Like,
may latest song ka ba na like inspired by these? Like your newest songs you released like
I have a song that's super inspired by Your Lie in April. It's coming out soon, but I can't say much about it.
yeah, we'll have to wait for that. But you know, ang ganda ng I guess going back to music a bit lang. Ang ganda ng like evolution, I guess, coming from the uh indie electro pop so 80s synth pop na you know you were one of the first to have it here and now everyone's doing it and then like now you're heading a bit more to the acoustic-ish side, but still having that same like Fern lyrics into it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Oh,
like I don't know, it's just nice. It's nice to see the evolution na kasi parang all these people have the synth pop na eh. Parang okay, I've heard this before, but like it's nice that you're like getting to a different what's the direction you're seeing yourself right now in terms of your music.
well, honestly, man, like with music, it's really I never planned it, dude. I never like the synth pop stuff. Like it was never like, yo, I want to make synth pop. It was
Yeah.
kind of, this is what I feel right now. This was the art I consumed back then. Like back then, I think Into You, Lie to Me. I was watching a lot of like what film? Like I was watching a lot of like retro vibes in the film.
Yeah.
Like yung mga Chungking Express. I remember watching that and I was like, yo, this sounds like such a like a synth pop vibe, all of that. And then now that I've been consuming more romance, like I really am a big fan of romance. Whether it's a film, series, anime or not, any romance is like good to me. Like I just love that feeling. I think it's the art I consume now that's kind of like helped me evolve as an artist. You feel like parang I'm a very visual artist. Like whatever I watch, I kind of like want to turn it into sound. So there was never really a conscious effort into like I want to sound like this. It's more of like the things that I've been feeling, watching, and like consuming basically inspired that kind of change. And I remember we had a conversation. You were telling me like the sound is super changing and it's like how do you differentiate it from like Fire God, like my other project.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was like, oh yeah, it's starting to sound the same because I do both with the same amount of like love and the same amount of like passion.
Yeah.
I think just proves that I don't really try
To
to
distinguish.
distinguish anything. Like my music will always be my music. Period.
So I guess I have a fun question. Like what do you say about like putting too much of your personal experience into a song? For example, oh you're with this person at this time and you make the song for them and then you're not with that person anymore. Parang, di ba, there's like, I guess, parang I've heard some artists say, oh, I don't want to be like Taylor Swift who writes her heart out into her albums. But don't you realize that like Taylor Swift is one of the most like successful artists out there? Parang, don't you want to be
Yeah.
associated with that kind of like artistry? Like, what can you say about that? About like integrating your soul or like your personal life into like music?
All about that, dude. I'm all about integrating like you're just like selling your soul. I'm all about showing everyone like what it is that I feel talaga. But for me, at least like to speak for myself, I do it because music. I'm not a very vocal person emotionally. Like I'm gonna say that. Um, I'm not one. I'm not the person to like open up or like bring my problems to like my friends. Like I can feel really down, but when I meet up with you guys and I talk to you guys, it'll be super fine. So for me, music is an outlet for that. So I don't necessarily understand why people would say na parang I wouldn't want to put my heart out into my music. I don't know it. That's not my reality, but for me, I think that's what you should do. Like that's why
That's what makes people like relate to you, diba? Na
yeah,
parang,
yeah. And more importantly, that's why music is there. Like music is
exactly.
to like communicate something, right? So it's like, what are you trying to communicate then? If it's not who you are, if it's not what you feel, then what is it? I
I
don't know.
guess that's what distinguishes an artist from like a singer. Because like there's no shade to people who just interpret what other people write or produce for them, but like the artists that has emerged in the last few years is different na talaga eh. Parang I guess in the early 2000s, parang until 2010s, it's all very manufactured na okay, label wants this, do this is what you should be, this is what you should sing about. But now people are really like coming into their own and like
Yeah,
making
I think I think it's easier to fall in love with someone rather than like something. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like it's much easier for me to kind of follow Matty Healy rather than just consume the 1975. Like
Yeah.
I consume the 1975 because I follow Matty Healy. Something
Yeah.
like like I think that's like the kind of like reality I want also for me as an artist. So I think like even right now, I don't know if it's the same with you. Like you're a fan of like Taylor Swift, like I forgot the other one. Carly Rae, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like you're only a fan of this album or you're only a fan of this song. It's like you're a fan of them, and
Yeah.
anything they release will be something you consume because you're a fan of them.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like where we're heading now, and that's where we should have been headed like a long time ago, right? I think
Yeah.
like One Direction stuff, man. Even when the band broke up, they still had like a huge following individually. Just because people didn't really follow the One Direction just for One Direction songs. Like people followed One Direction for the
Yeah.
individuals that made up that group.
It's really important to be authentic because if you appear as like a robot or like a manufactured singer or artist, quote unquote artist, then what's there for people to like about you aside from what's churned out.
I guess like before, I mean, I can't really speak for like the people from the past, but now at least it's more magnified with like the artists are kind of like it's like a whole package na eh. It's not just how good your songs are. It's
Yeah.
not just parang how good you look or something. It's all of that shit, dude. It's like how aesthetic you are. Like I know some artists that are just aesthetic. Like they're big because of their aesthetic.
Yeah.
Some shit like that. It's like it's all these fucking things now, bro. Like an artist is no longer just a musician, man.
Yeah.
An artist is no longer just like a painter, like just an actor. Like you're fucking everything na, dude. Like it's a package na. Whether you model, what brands do you support, or what face, like you're the face of what brand, of what culture, of what community. I think that's what it's about now.
Yeah.
So I mean, for artists out there, like I think for me at least, like I truly, truly, truly believe in being authentic and being you, or like
Yeah.
being real, man. Not just on some, manufactured robot shit.
And fans can feel that. Yun nga eh, parang fans are more intelligent, I feel now, than they were ever before because they can see through you na parang okay. I mean, I guess it's different than for the K-pop industry because that's also another facet lang then of like what can you show about yourself that the company allows you to, right?
But the thing is with K-pop, man, like they handle that shit so well.
They do.
So well, bro. Like I don't know, man. Like even BTS, like even I'm like in love with the people in BTS. I don't know why. Like sometimes I see them and I'm like, oh, they're so talented. But like they created this whole world that like I don't know, like I don't know if anyone has figured out the fucking secret to K-pop, but it's like it's crazy, man. It's crazy how like even I gravitated towards K-pop. Like I don't know why. Like I don't know when it happened. I don't know like why it even happened. But it's like there's something they're doing right.
It's just really fascinating to see how hard work, a mixture of hard work and talent, and I guess good looks also
And
parang go to the picture. It's everything na parang I never ako rin eh parang before naman I wasn't really like as into K-pop as I am now, but like having an album na K-pop and seeing how good they produce their albums, like sonically, but also the packaging and everything. It's just like you can't stop consuming it once you get there.
have you seen their shows, man? They
I have not yet.
come out from like fucking houses, dude. Like they build houses in like the stages and they perform in like different rooms of the house. It's fucking crazy, dude.
I wish I could like experience that type of production one
Honestly,
day?
like one of my dreams is probably to just go to Korea and be a part of the industry there, right? As a producer. I just want to see, man. I want to see what makes them great. And that's always been a thing about me. Like, um, let's say, like, even with James, man, like, when I got kind of like, close to James in a way wherein I'd get to see like a deeper, like, glimpse of his head. I kind of study it also. Like, what makes this guy so great, dude? Like, what sets him apart from a lot of people? I like to do that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
with K-pop, that's what I want to do also. Like I want to be there and kind of like, like decode what makes K-pop so great. Because I see it here also, like when I hang out with the likes of like Sina James, Sina Claudia, Julie, like you kind of see why they're in the position they're in.
Yeah.
Like it's not just because they're good looking. It's not just because like it was given to them. Like there's something there.
Yeah. There's still an X factor at the end of the day.
There is, and that's like something I really want to study also. But yeah, with K-pop, I really want to do that because I think I'm at the level. I think I have achieved a certain level of success just because of the people I meet.
I feel like you have what it takes to produce for K-pop, because like a lot of the songs, actually, I don't think a lot of people know that these are English songs translated into Korean, right?
These are English producers also.
Yeah, like some are black producers and then some are like white producers, I guess. But a lot of it, or most of it, siguro majority of it is not like Koreans, right? It's
Yeah,
just like translated into Korean.
yeah, that's facts. That's hella facts, dude. I've read about it too.
So let's make that happen. Hello to Fern's people.
K-pop, man. I mean, it would really be a dream. And I always tell Enzo that too. I'm always like, yo, Enzo, help me.
Basta sama ako sa Korea pag pumunta ka dun.
Oh, dude, roadie type beat.
Yeah, I mean, I've been your...
So I'm super excited about, man.
About what?
Like, I really want to tour. I really want to tour the world. Like, one thing I've learned about myself when I'm in hotels, I love it. I love the feeling of being in a hotel. I don't know why. It's just bro, it's such a pleasuring thing for me to like sleep in a hotel, eat the breakfast. Imagine if I did that all around the world. Bro, I
Yeah.
have the time of my life, dude.
It's really, I feel like I haven't experienced it for myself din naman, but like, I feel like it would be a really nice thing, especially for like you guys to
Yeah,
experience, right?
for sure, for sure. I mean, traveling is also one thing I want to do.
Yeah, but let's hope this is all over sooner than later,
And I mean,
right?
I'm doing as much as I can. I've been home for like 4 months, so
Pero I mean, siguro, how do you adjust from like parang getting to go to gigs for so long and then parang okay, now you're just home right now doing like
the
your
thing is,
online gigs, ganun.
it's like this is like real shit. Like the thing is, I've started to notice like how much privilege I have, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel any of the struggle. Like parang artists are struggling right now, man. Like that's the reality. But like honestly, for me, I don't feel it because like I'm really one of the privileged few to like my mom makes the money for me. Like I don't necessarily have to live off my art. So it hasn't affected me so much, but I can't really speak for like all artists because
Yeah.
I really start. I don't know if you've had like an awakening, but like I had one of these days. Like probably I had like a full week of just like being super detached with everyone, and I was like, man, like the privilege, bro. I was like crazy.
Yeah,
Like
kasi parang for a lot of
more
people,
thankful, bro. Like
yeah, parang 'di ba nga, parang there was this one movie, not sure if you watched, yung Hello Love Goodbye, and like they say na ang choice para lang sa mayayaman, and that's the reality we have in this country na privileged people have their choice to just stay home for how many months and not really like experience what other people are experiencing outside, because
yeah,
a lot of people are just have to go out to survive. and that's the sad reality that we have to face, and we have to help our countrymen. And yeah.
And we've come full circle, man. That's where fucking social media comes in. It's like it's really such a it's such a confusing thing until now, but it's really are the greatest weapon for both good and evil.
Yeah.
It can do so much, eh? It can do so much to help out all these people.
Yeah, but I feel also, I mean, parang the last few episodes here have really been very, more social than ever before. I guess with the times na rin. But, sometimes the private institutions or private people can only go so far din eh. Parang, what about the public people who are supposed to be serving the whole country? What are they doing? They're serving themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. That's really true.
Yeah, but I guess since we have come full circle, that's, I mean, we wrap the show up. What else can we expect from Fern? I feel like there's an announcement coming. I think
There's
you can announce it at this point because it's gonna be announced by the time I release this.
okay. Yeah, I signed to Island Records recently. Philippines, Island Records Philippines, and I don't know. There's a lot of plans internationally, and I had this exciting thing, Keshi. I don't know if you know
Oh
Keshi.
yeah, how was that pala? Like you
He,
made a cover and then he noticed it.
he
Like
noticed-
how was that?
he messaged. He didn't message, but he sent me he emailed a video of him like saying like I really like it, and now we're like working on something. Like, nah, we're not working on something, but the label is trying to make us work on something. That's it.
Wow, grabe. Di na kita ma-reach talaga.
Crazy thing is like the label people like they told me Keshi listened to my songs like to check me out. So
Yeah.
knows I exist, bro, and he listened to like my songs, which is like whoa, crazy stuff.
You listen to all the bops from your
Dude,
first
I hope
release.
he liked it. Well, they said he liked it, but I don't know. Why would they say if he didn't like it?
Yeah, but that's really great. We're excited to see what comes out of your Island Records career. We
Mm.
have a lot of big artists like The Killers, right? And like Shawn Mendes yata is under Island Records.
It's big. It's a huge opportunity, man. And I just wish I can capitalize on it as much as I can. I'm just doing as much, dude. Like this past quarantine, I bought a lot of like online courses on like music.
Yeah.
Been studying since I have nothing much to do with my time. I'm starting to learn Photoshop also.
Wow, hindi na kukuha ng graphic designer.
Ma- ano, save budget na tayo ngayon, dude.
Well, you might not need that save budget mentality anymore.
But like,
Okay.
yeah, I guess it's like, for me, like, why I want to learn all these things is because I want to learn the language in where I can I can communicate my idea better to someone with a better skill.
Yeah, and like, never stop learning. Kasi,
Yeah, man.
that's where life ends if you just stop learning and just like living such a mundane life.
Yeah,
Right?
that's how I've been keeping up this whole quarantine. It's really like I try to learn as much new things as possible.
And even if it's like, okay, you learn members of a K-pop group, that's still learning something. Like you learn more about people, diba?
Funny that you say that because I was like reading on I don't know if you know Club Eskimo,
No.
Dean Crush, off and off on off.
They have a collective na ba?
They have a collective. No, they started with that collective, and they're all from that one group, and they all became like really big. So I've been reading up on like a lot of them. So it's funny that you say that because I actually did that recently.
And that's my quarantine learning with my K-pop faves.
Diba, dude, honestly, like anything, bro. I've been like reading so much about anime also, like, and I can say, dude, like, for me as an artist, everything I consume really is sort of heading towards the direction of like art.
Yeah, for sure. And like siguro just to cap it off, I mean, that's what this whole conversation was about. Like soaking as much information and experiences and working towards your goal. It's the same as learning. Like you can
It's
put it as parang as simple as that. Na parang, for example, other people would think, oh, K-pop is such a basic thing to like. But when you go deep into it, like K-pop helps me in my work because I get to see how a music industry in another country works and I try to apply it in my work. Diba?
bro. Like honestly, like I don't understand why people are so quick to like jump to conclusions, but it's
You're missing out.
like in a way, it's like you can't deny the fact that these people are doing something right.
Yeah.
Like whether it's K-pop, anime, whatever the fuck it is, like there's a level of success that those things and those like people have achieved that you can always learn from. Like if I study K-pop, I don't necessarily have to make K-pop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I study K-pop because there are things that they're doing that I can apply to myself
In your own way.
my own way, yeah. And if I
Yeah.
can't apply it to myself, at least I'm aware. Like
Yeah.
I don't really lose anything but time.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I mean I don't get that. But if like I want to leave something like for people that are gonna listen to this. It's like just continue to learn, continue to like develop a certain type of skill set or like a personality or just a certain type of person that will like gather as much information because that will help build. I always think of life as a game, like for everyone, like for you also, Charles, like for like how I always approach life is like it's a game, and there we the what's this like the farther we go into like this game, the more characters we meet, the
Yeah.
more items we get, we level up. It's like parang that's how everyone I think okay in my own opinion I think everyone should go through life like that so that they would still keep that enjoy and that joy, that childlike sense of like happiness. Like parang a child about when they see something they're interested at, they'll go ham, bro. Like they'll forget about you and they'll focus on this thing. And I
Yeah.
think it's something that I want to retain till the day that I die. Like I'll learn as much as I can, enjoy all these like pieces of art or enjoy like even moments, enjoy company with of my friends, my family, all that shit, bro. Whether it's productive or not, playing video games, all that fucking everything about life itself, relationships, everything, it can always help you with the things that you do. Like it can always help you with your career, because it your career will always be the certain type of personality and character you build. So it's like parang the sooner you level up, the more quests you take, the more items you get, the faster you level up, dude. Thank you for coming to my TED
And I'd like to
Talk.
add, like if you die, there's always a restart button, or
Yeah,
you
like
live again and you learn from the way you died, and then you
exactly, bro.
stand back up, right?
If you were starting on like if you're a musician now, if you're an artist, like for me, I'm an artist now. If this thing doesn't work out, let's say I'll think of it as like, okay, my character died. I'll just change my whole like yeah, I was a mage that that whole game. For now I'm gonna be like a warrior naman. And I'll continue that path and grow in that path naman. Because I know I failed at this one, but there's
And you
always
and you take those lessons from your past life into
exactly,
your life.
exactly, bro, exactly. Yeah.
Nakamiss maglaro ng video games din, ah.
Ah, dude, honestly, life, bro, it's I look at it as like one big video game. Like quests and all that, dude. Like right now, my main quest is that Grammy, where I have like all these side quests, like Kindred,
Yeah.
like all that stuff. But it's all for the sake of leveling up my character.
And we are looking forward to that. I mean, I'm always rooting for you. I've always rooted for you since day one. I mean, whether we work together or not anymore, I mean, I'm just always watching and supporting. And I'm sure a lot of people are there to support you then. But I guess that leads us to our last part of the show. I mean, that was a really nice way to end it. The whole video game thing, you know, not everyone can think of life that way, and that's really nice. Maybe you should make a song about it, like
Maybe I should.
video games. Oh, won't you vid? Joke lang.
I actually want to write a book, so maybe I'll write a book about that.
Yeah, I mean another thing from Fern, but our last part of the show, as always, is our pop stop or our pop culture recommendations for the week. So, Fern, what do you want to suggest or recommend, like your favorite things to people who are listening, your fans,
Uh,
or just popcorn listeners?
for music. Listen to Off on Off. They're a K-pop duo, the best. And then for things to watch, just watch Darling in the Franxx. That's it. Your life will be good after.
Ako, ano ba? Well, last time I was just suggesting to Fern before we were recording yung It's Okay to Not Be Okay.
Mm.
It's a Korean drama, and it's still continuing to be a great show. But aside from that, um, I saw the Hamilton recording the other maybe 2 weeks ago, and it's really good. I mean, I've seen it live, but the recorded version of the original cast is also, uplifting and inspiring to work hard and work on yourself. I'm not sure if you've seen Hamilton or heard the soundtrack yet. Go watch it. I'm sure we're gonna have an episode on Hamilton soon enough after this one. And last, I guess, ano ba? Dahil I haven't really been consuming as much because of recent events. I guess listen to Fern's music. It's really good. Favorite ko talaga siya without like just Fern being here. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Favorite songs. Ano mga favorite songs ko? Lie to Me, so good. Knowing the tea behind it.
dude, we're goods now. Just saying, we're good.
And yeah, it's go listen. Where can they listen to your music and follow you?
um, Spotify. It's just Fern with a period. Tapos you'll see a person that looks like me. Then that's me. On IG, I'm Fern Tan _. That's it, man.
And Fire God, listen to Fire God.
My
Check
God,
out
man.
Kindred.
Follow Kindred. Give Kindred clients. Thank you, please.
And for me, of course, all our episodes are still streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you stream your podcasts. We're also on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Thank you to the Radyo Katipunan fam. You can go follow us on social media. That's at Popcorn with Cholo, at Popcorn W Cholo on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the internets, basically. So thank you so much for joining this episode of Popcorn. I hope you enjoyed Fern's guesting on here. It's been a while to get him on here, but our schedules finally aligned. And we'll see you all next time. Thank you, Fern, and thanks everyone. Bye.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.